Hi, this is James again. I am bringing you another part of the series of my upbringing in LaGrow, Indiana. And if you've watched the previous videos, which I try to keep it in the playlist, and I'll have a link to that. I grew up in LaGrow, Indiana, around Wabash County. I have mentioned how in this process, I originally was just going to be talking about growing up in the Grove, but I'm now switching to go ahead down in the process of my life, doing videos about my upbringing, different places I've lived, clear up. We're working up to where I live now with my wife and then my immediate family, my kids and grandkids. With that said, I would like to ask you to subscribe and share and make sure you follow along on whatever outlet you're watching this video on. And I'm just doing this to just kind of remind me of how God has helped me in my life. I talked of um, the growing up in LaGrow, and one of the previous video talked about how we moved to Elwood and then back to LaGrow. My dad pastored a church in Elwood. Now, I am jumping forward from our last time living in LaGrow, and now we moved from LaGrow. They're on Washington Street. They're on the curve. We lived at right across from the school, the ball field in LaGrow. We moved from there and we moved to Elwood, Indiana. And I'm trying to bring this up to the best of my knowledge. There is Elwood, Indiana, the map, and I'm sorry, Bluffton, Indiana. We moved to Bluffton, Indiana from LaGrow, and um, let me shut this off. Yeah, there we go. Um, Bluffton, Indiana, and this is Bluffton, Indiana, and and we moved from that house to a trailer. And to the best of my knowledge, I am almost for certain with living in Bluffton, Indiana in a trailer park. Um, I believe for certain that I have close to the trailer park that we lived in. It's been many years. But with that said, this looks like this is the trailer park Bluffton Woods Manufactured Homes. In fact, let me just go ahead and search that right there. And right there it is. I am almost for certain, which it's grown now, because I remember coming out and turning on the road, and you go down here, which now it won't show. You can't see, but going up here, back up to town, and so let's go ahead and 124. Let me just go ahead and yeah, here we go. I remember we came through here. Oh boy, I didn't mean to do that. um, Let me get the street view here. There we go. And yeah, we lived there. Let me go ahead back here. And yeah, so and I remember coming down, we pulled in. I mean, there again, it is very different than what it looked like then. It's a very nice mobile home park. So, and there's a street again. You can go clear down, but Bluffton, Indiana. While living in Bluffton, we went to church in Craigville, Indiana. Craigville, Indiana is a very, very small town. We attended a church that used to sit right down there. And it, very, very small church, but it's Craigville Holiness Church. And in Craigville, outside of Craigville, was there used to be a camp meeting. There was an old school here, and it was with Christian Pilgrim Church. And let me rephrase that: that was a Christian Pilgrim Church we attended, and there was a old school here had a camp meeting. I remember the pig farm used to be over here across, and this comes straight out of Craigville. Boom, right there's Craigville, and that is where there's an old school. I helped my dad rewire a lot of stuff in there, but just bringing you up to date about my life and how God, the periods of my life, how God has helped, and living, moved from LeGros, moved to Bluffton and the Craigville, northern Indiana, Craigville area, but we lived in Bluffton. And the crazy thing about it is, when we lived in Bluffton, my dad still worked in Wabash. So, kind of crazy. All right, there you go. Just want to remind you, make sure you share, subscribe, and watch my other videos, and hopefully we can kind of get this even going better. Thank you. We'll catch you on the next video.